Yeah, I think the repeated mistakes is that people are not really willing to make mistakes. They get stuck in education as much as it is an education community. Something that we always say is like, if you after this workshop, you have all the information you need in order to go do deals. So if you leave this workshop and then you go into YouTube and you spend another 50 hours, looking for the next secret, the secret is that there is no secret. You just have to go out there and do the work. And if you go out there and do the work, you're going to be ahead of 90% of your competition, because most people they stay where they're comfortable. They're more looking for entertainment than they are looking for, they want the change, but they're not really willing to sacrifice to get it. So if you're willing to sacrifice, and that might be time or maybe perception of who you are, if you're willing to kind of get rid of those things and push through them, then the success is just on the other side of the activity. So that's what we try to focus on, the action part of it.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Michael Pouliot, who is of Carbon CREI and Eon Capital Partners. So thank you for being here, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
So you're doing a lot in the investing space, and you're doing a lot to educate others. How did you fall in love with real estate to begin with?
Yeah, well, thanks for that question. So my family's been in real estate for a few generations now. And so I have been on job sites since I could walk and smell the paint and the 2x4s and the 2x10s and walking, the 2x10s from the garage into the, framed out house. And so, yeah, I sort of, from a young age, you could say it's sort of in my blood.
Amazing. And so does your family still work in real estate with you?
Not with me, but we've all sort of independently worked in some way in real estate. My father, he's retired now, but really focused on building single family luxury spec homes, at least in the last 10 years of his career. Previously doing like suburban developments and other projects like that. But yeah, I got the pleasure. I'll use the word pleasure. It's always difficult working with family, I think, or at least in my opinion, could be difficult. Yeah. So yeah, I worked for him many summers, a good pay, but really tough work, long hours, digging holes. I'm not sure how relevant the holes I was digging were, but again, great cash pay.
Builds character.
And as a kid, you don't need that much money. So when you're working construction, it feels like you're rich at $20 an hour, right? So
that's awesome that you fell in love with it right away and you stuck with it and you really loved it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when did you kind of go off on your own and start doing this full time for yourself?
Yeah. So even though I had all of this experience in kind of working job sites as essentially like a day laborer or a gopher, depending on how you kind of look at it, I decided to pursue my career in finance. So I went the kind of that traditional route. I went to school in Boston, which is also where I met my wife. And then, I went and worked in New York. I graduated in 2011, which is not the best time to be going into finance. And I didn't really know that at the time. Wasn't as aware of kind of the economy and everything as I maybe am now. And so, but I was able to land a analyst position in the program that year. And I worked in fixed income for JP Morgan in New York. I did that through the entire program period, which is like a 2 or 3 year program. And then realized that, the 100-hour weeks, and I was commuting 4 hours a day from
Wow.
Princeton to New York. And so it was, a train to 2 subways to a walk. And that just was, brutally brutal. So
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
It was sort of like, hey, I'm either going to move to the city, 20 minutes outside, or with a 20-minute walk to the office, because I had to be in by the morning meeting before the market opened. And that was like a 7 o'clock morning meeting. So I had to be up at like 4:30 to get to the office in time. And then I was mostly working for clients, and I would stay as the analyst, after everyone else left. And so it was, it's 4 o'clock to 1 o'clock job sometimes, which is a great experience. I think, you can work that hard. It is possible. You're not going to die necessarily. Although I guess some, well, neither here nor there. So that being said, from there, I was like, hey, we wanted to start a family. We wanted to kind of like have a life. And that was not the life that we envisioned, or I envisioned, or my wife, fiance at that time did. So I moved into consulting and worked, for private equity firms, hedge funds, family offices to help them with their complex investments. So they'll buy private companies or they'll buy positions in companies. And then I would come in and consult with them, help them understand more about what they bought, what they own, what it's worth, as well as advise on workouts, bankruptcies, spinouts, roll-ups, whatever. So when I was there, at that time, I was like, oh, that job's going to be easier. That was still a pretty challenging job, long hours, and still very much being paid by the hour of, there, right? Because I was literally being billed out by the hour. So it was very clear, I had a ceiling. I could only work so much. And this was pre-AI. So all the work I was doing was, relatively manual in Excel and presentations and stuff. Now I feel like I could have done 10 times as much work as I was doing that now. And so that's when I started saying, hey, I got to find something new that is going to pay me sideways or passively and build my income so that I could leave this job ultimately and pursue something that I set my own schedule and was able to accommodate a lifestyle that made more sense to me. And that's when I started buying single family homes and, made my way back to real estate once again.
Amazing. Well, I mean, it's kind of nice to have that background of working so hard, because then you have just like a well-rounded perspective of things. And then, you get into this and you're probably way more knowledgeable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely helps to realize that there's a lot that can be, if you can work 2 times as hard as other people, like just by putting in more hours, and it's something that you can just commit to, and you'll get ahead compared to everyone else who's not everybody else, but a lot of people who, aren't willing to put in that type of effort.
And are you still predominantly in single family homes?
Not well. So we have kind of a barbell type kind of strategy, or rather kind of where I focus on. So we have I did start in single family homes, and, my first property was a $25,000 row home in South Philly. And I was totally bombed out type of property. We went in, we renovated the whole thing, or I renovated it. And then we did the burst strategy on it and would buy, renovate, rent, refinance. So I was able to kind of recycle my money and then kind of do about a dozen of those deals in a year. This was back in the mid 2010, so 2016, 17. Credit was available. Deals were not that expensive. Seemed to be a lot of opportunity. I could pretty much buy, I wouldn't say anything, but as long as I was willing to buy a distressed property, I could usually get it at a great price, at least where I was investing in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, places where I felt like there was path of progress due to usually eds and meds, so large education facilities and then medical facilities. And then so I did single family. I did about 50 properties in the single family space over about 2 years, either doing burst strategies, or I did some foreclosure flips. And then after that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much activity, so much work. And it's going to take me, it's like $100 of cash flow a house, but
Right.
then I have to pay my bookkeeper, and like there's other holding company expenses that don't translate in a spreadsheet that you have to accommodate for. And when you're doing a dozen projects at a time, who's going to do the project management? I was still working 70 hours a week, and at that time, and had a young child, one at that time. And so that's when I started saying, hey, I need to buy more units at a time.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing that. I sold a few single family houses, and I bought a 36 unit apartment complex in Chicago. I was not living in Chicago at the time, but I always sort of invested remotely. So I was very comfortable with the idea of doing that. And Chicago was a very easy and quick flight from Colorado, which is where we had moved by that point. So that's when I started buying multifamily, and then, kept on doing that process.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
It's essentially the BRRRR strategy again, but just with bigger properties, a little bit longer to get it done, but and if you make mistakes, the numbers are a lot worse for you, so you got to be careful. But was able to get a number of probably about 7 or 8 of those transactions in the 20 to 50 unit space done. After I got the first one done, I had to start raising capital and JVing with other people because I ran out of my own money. And then after doing a bunch of those properties, moved into larger apartment complexes, and mostly in that space at this point, we operate in the Southeast doing 100 to 250 unit apartment complexes. We're vertically integrated. We do our own, obviously we raise our own capital, we find the deals, we manage those deals through our property management company. We do our own construction through our construction company. And we are actually in the process right now of taking contract services in so that we can do our own landscaping and snow
Wow.
removal. Although there's not a lot of snow removal in the Southeast, but certainly landscaping, there's definitely a lot. So yeah, so vertically integrated and continuing to do more of that. So that was like, that's I guess the high end of the barbell. On the other side, we have education. We're focused on helping investors find their first deal or get their first deal, whether that's a wholesale, right? Just to find a property and bird dog on behalf of another investor, which is a great way to get started, to, fix and flipping our own properties or buying rentals. And so we have a education community that's absolutely free that we bring people into. They go through a variety of educational experiences to, get what they need. And then we hopefully help support them through the process of getting that first deal.
I love that. I mean, first of all, it's so impressive that you guys are vertically integrated. I feel like people think that's more simple to do than it is. It's very challenging to be vertically integrated like that. And then moving to the education platform, I'm sure that's incredibly fulfilling to give back and help people get started.
Yeah, I'll hit on both of those things because you're absolutely right. The vertical integration process took us about 12 to 18 months to get done. And I think one of the things that, I think we knew going in, but was still a challenge was that, a lot of the deals that we had, they all have lender approval rights for management. So in order to build your own property management company or rather have that company manage your own properties, if you already have a book of business, you have to get lender approval, but you can't get lender approval until you build it. So you sort of have to hire all the people on the basis that you're going to get approval, which is risky for pretty much everyone, right? The people you hire, right? Because we're taking on all these expenses without the, the revenue. And so it's very much like building a plane in the air as as you're trying to fly, or maybe as you're falling to the ground, depending on how you look at it. So
if you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
But yeah, so it took us about 12 to 18 months, and definitely we did burn some cash, or invest is maybe the better word of saying it. And but now it's, the impact on property operation, control, communication, hiring. Hiring is probably the most impactful part of maybe any business, but certainly apartments. The team on the ground is absolutely critical to your success, and no one cares about your property more than you do. And so having your own people at the property, having a deep bench of people you can bring in if someone, a vacancy comes in, which happens all the time. I mean, there's never a time when we're full, right? Every seat is full. We're always hiring for something, and we're always trying to build the bench so that when we do have someone go, we can bring in someone else, as well as floating resources to handle things like that. So I would say the people game is still very, very much alive, at least
Yeah.
in property. And on the education side, yeah, it's been fantastic to be able to bring, it's a little bit like what's the imposter syndrome, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like when you're like, yeah, I've done a lot of real estate and I've been doing this for a while and I've got this background. And like, if you read my bio, it seems very impressive or whatever. But when when I'm actually going out and trying to help people, I'm like, am I really qualified to be, helping anybody do anything? I feel like I could barely get through the day, get the kids to school, get the lunches out, whatever. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just a step or two ahead of someone else, you can always, share, a little wisdom and help them understand what's coming. So that's what we try to do. It's been pretty successful. We got a few, 3,000 or 4,000 people in the community now, and
Wow.
really helping support them to that first deal, like I said, or, if they're better suited to bird dogging, or they're better suited to, other activities within the business, we help facilitate those activities through our group. Since we also do our own transactions, we're able to actually bring our students in and say, hey, help us find a buyer for this. Why don't you go out, make some calls, introduce us to buyers, and
Yeah.
then they can get real world experience, in a way that they couldn't otherwise get if they were on their own.
What is something like, I'm sure working with so many first time investors, what are some repeated mistakes that you see over and over?
Yeah, I think the repeated mistakes is that people are not really willing to make mistakes. They get stuck in education as much as it is an education community. Something that we always say is like, if you, after this workshop, you have all the information you need in order to go do deals. So if you leave this workshop and then you go into YouTube and you spend another 50 hours, looking for the next secret, the secret is that there is no secret. You just have to go out there and do the work. And if you go out there and do the work, you're going to be ahead of 90% of your competition, because most people, they stay where they're comfortable. They're more looking for entertainment than they are looking for, they want the change, but they're not really willing to sacrifice to get it. So if you're willing to sacrifice, and that might be time or maybe perception of who you are, if you're willing to kind of get rid of those things and push through them, then the success is just on the other side of the activity. So that's what we try to focus on, the action part of it.
Absolutely. And what would you say to somebody wanting to get into investing, but maybe a little nervous about the market or not really sure if it's the right time?
Yeah. So what's the quote, is the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago or something. And the second best time is today. So the thing about real estate is you really never know when a good time is. And typically when people are most fearful, that's when the best time is to be on the buy side. So I'm of the mind right now that in the single family space, it's a little bit more challenging because you are competing with individual homeowners as well. But certainly in the investment space, when people are making decisions based on cap rates and interest rates, and population growth and rent growth, I find that right now is a fantastic opportunity to be buying large pieces of commercial real estate, or even smaller pieces of, probably even that $1 to $5 million space is even more opportunity, because the rates are even higher. And so really looking for property at, in today's market, we're looking for stuff that's we can put fixed rate debt on, we can add value and grow revenues, 20, 30% over the next 3 to 5 years with fixed debt, with, 3 to 6% cash yield in year one, with growing with an expectation of growth. And if I can do that with where I can buy a property today, I know I'm going to make really good money over a 10-year period. And we're long-term holders. We're not looking to fix and, we're not looking to flip these properties in 3 years. Really looking to be kind of even more than 10 years, although we tell our investors 10 years and we model that out. But the expectation is that we're going to hold this property as long as it makes financial sense. And we're never going to sell a property just to make a promote. At the end of the day, I'd love to own the properties that I'm buying and never sell them. Maybe recapitalize them and give liquidity to investors. But once you own a property, you know it really well, If that's a good performer, there's a lot less risk in just maintaining that existing property versus trying to buy something totally new. The expense of it and the unknown and the execution risks. We're long-term holders, and I would say now is a fantastic opportunity to buy as long as you're buying at the right price with positive cash flow and ideally fixed rate debt. And that's what I would say.
And is that something that you see a lot? People maybe get a little impatient, or people just want to make money very quickly.
Yeah, definitely see a lot of that in the single family and in the wholesale space. And for people who are maybe unfamiliar with that term, it just means that you're finding properties that are typically distressed in some way that you can acquire the property at a discount to maybe fair market value. And then typically what someone like that would do is then sell that contract during the life of the contract to a buyer who would be the person who's going to actually do the fix and flip or the buy and hold. So you're providing what I would consider to be an essential service in the market. A lot of fix and flippers or just landlords, they don't want to go through the process of going direct to owner or running ads or doing any of the marketing activities or the sales activities necessary to find inventory. And so really, as a wholesaler, you're providing inventory for a key part of the market. And I think the wholesaling space gets a little bit of a bad rap because of maybe some folks' business practices. I think if you are honest, you're an honest broker with your buyers, your sellers, and you're willing to take deals down if you have to, which is another part of the benefit of having some scale in the business. I think you can be very effective in this space. But yes, in the wholesale space, I think there's a lot of people toting getting rich quick and, deals done in a few days, like from start. They, a lot of case studies of that. And I think that those case studies are largely true, but they're from people who have been in the game for 5 or 10 years. And they're saying it took 6 days. Yeah. Like 6 days after the first 10 years, like, yes, you figured out how to get that sale done, but also, as many, I did have I just like, I don't even want to say it because like, then it makes it sound bad, but we had a marketing effort where we reached out to someone and then within 6 days we signed a contract on it. We'll make $35,000 on that contract. But that was like, that'll happen like once out of every 30 deals. They'll be like that. Like most deals, I have to talk to that person. We have to talk to that person 10 times or more. It might take, a month or a year. Sometimes, depending on the circumstance, they're in probate or it's a divorce. There's just some natural events that make deals take longer. And in order to be successful, in my opinion, in that space, you really have to be, you have to monetize your entire funnel to be successful. You can't just go for the deals that you're going to get done in the first 5 days, or you'll be leaving like 8 out of every 10 deals on the table, which is where the real money is. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's great advice for people and great perspective as well. So we're getting to the end of our time, but tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks. So if anyone wanted to learn more about how to become an investor, learn how to find deals, analyze deals, or sell those deals and work in the wholesale or fix and flip, buy and hold, we offer all of that education absolutely for free inside of our community. It's called the Dealmaker Fast Track. It's inside of the school community. So SKOOL.com. And I'm sure it'll be in the show notes, but just if you look up Dealmaker, you'll find it pretty easily. And then if you're more of a accredited investor or you're looking to really put just money to work and you like apartments and the benefits, the tax benefits and the depreciation and cash flow and generational wealth, that sort of a thing, that's going to be more carbon. There's investwithcarbon.com is a great place to go, or you can go to my website, michaelpouliot.com. And yeah, we'll put all that in the show notes. And I look forward to chatting with anyone who's interested in talking.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Michael.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you back next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.